Hey, welcome back to another edition of How to Play Golf as we navigate how to get around a golf course for you high handicap players and you scratch players. Tonight, we're going to be taking you through hole number 4 on this episode of How to Play and Manage a Golf Course. Hey, thanks for watching today's episode. Here at My Pro Golfer, you know we like to keep things simple. And today, I've got a special gift for you to help you never miss a 5-foot putt again. Click the link below and download today. All right, so I'm back here on the back tee box, and I'm trying really hard to make sure the majority of my shots are fades. And if you could tell here, there's trees up the left side and a lateral hazard, and then you can't really see, but if you block cut this, there's water right. And so it's a very difficult tee shot from the back tees for any level of player. But for a scratch player, the goal here on this back tee is to make sure that we find fairway. And if not, we at least find some dry ground and keep the penalty out of play. So I'm a pretty straight ball hitter. I tend to fade it a little bit. I'm going to throw some grass up here for you. Just notice the wind is kind of into us and left to right. And I've got those moguls on the right side there that you can see in the video. So my goal is to kind of start it out there at the left side of the green with a pretty straight shot to a fade move. And that's sort of my typical shot. And so that should just easily get into that fairway without a whole lot of trouble. So I'm gonna go through my normal routine. You can see that stick out there in the middle there. That's the 150-yard marker. I'm gonna just play just inside of that and then go through my normal routine. Now, some of you know I'm going through a little bit of a swing change, so my routine is gonna look a little bit different tonight because I'm trying to get more in this mode and that feel, and that's unusual for me. So for those of you fans of the channel, know that that's a little bit different than what I normally do, but that should also develop a little bit of an easier cut shot on this ball. And that's pretty good. It actually stayed pretty straight, just right. Ooh, what a horrible kick. Just kind of shimmied across the cart path, but I'm safe even with all that miss because of the line I took. Notice I set up over here so that if I do pull it, I've got quite a bit of distance to the left side, and my shot shape is trying to create just a little bit of cut to give a scratch player the best opportunity with their natural shot shape to hit the fairway. All right, so now for you high handicap players, you notice how I've got the ball on that same side, and the reason for that is that most high handicappers are gonna slice it. So they're gonna get a little steep in their golf swing and they're gonna pull across and finish with that low exiting left elbow, all based on their setup, and they're gonna slice it out there. The hole's about 300 yards from here, so you don't have to necessarily hit driver, but there's plenty of room for a slicer on this particular shot. And as long as we aim to pretty straight, even if we pull it, our chances of hitting it 220 up that left side where my ball is right now, because there's almost 110 yards of distance from these tees, that I'm gonna be able to hit a little cut shot into the fairway. So I'm gonna give you my best high handicapper swing. I'm gonna get my belt buckle more this way, and I'm gonna get my club more this way to sort of create that high handicap type of a golf swing. And typically you're gonna aim too far right and your shoulders are gonna be too far left, and you'll create this sort of move, and you sliced it just down that right side in the rough, but not awful. I would be okay personally from back there on that spot. So you did a great job of getting yourself in play, knowing your limitations, knowing your shot shape, and knowing to utilize the majority of the golf hole to keep yourself in play. So even with being significantly further up, that shot shape and that swing produced almost no speed because of the shot shape, the slice kind of almost into this wind. And so my ball, even though I'm 110 yards difference, swinging like a high handicapper, I'm still away on the shot that's up over there in the rough further up. And I've got myself on a tricky shot for you high handicap players. So I'm glad you're seeing this. As you notice, we're on a really high hump here. And for you handicappers, this might be a little weird. So it's like, what am I supposed to do here? And what I'm looking for you to do is take a little bit more club, mostly because I'm gonna have you choke down, and then try to balance your body more on your lead leg and kind of almost pushing into the hill, and make sure that you make some golf swings. So what you don't want to do is make swings that are making you fall over. Most of you are gonna fall back and pull the ball, and this could bring 2 shots into play because you're on a side hill lie. So even a slice player that comes over the top and falls back on a side hill lie can shut the face pretty easily and yank it into those trees just as easily as they can get through the shot. So I'm going to try to create the movement pattern of what I want you to do versus what I think you might do in the same scenario. So let's talk about what you want to do. You're going to play the ball a little bit back in your stance to make sure that you get ball contact before the earth contact. That's big. Lean the shaft a little bit forward to help with that, and really push into your left side. Make a couple practice swings because you're not going to be able to make a full swing here because of the limitations in the side hill lie. You want to make sure you're making sounds of brush strokes. Then as a slice player, you want to just play to the middle left of the green. So set that club back there. Build your stance based on knowing that your arms are going to be out in front there. Lean your body weight a little bit forward and just try to swing with the slope. Even though you're going to be a little steep and across, swing into the slope. Take 1 extra club. It's 130-ish yards, so for me that's an 8-iron. And then just try to make your swing. You're going to go a little steep. You'll probably fall back a little bit, but you're going to start that ball left enough to get it down in the front of the green. If you were able to stay on top of it and move more into the shot, that ball is going to come out a lot hotter and roll up there. So notice from your finish what you did in the movement patterns to create where you fell. And so what I want you high handicappers to learn is I need you to get more into that lead leg, kind of going with the swing so that you can almost feel like you can step into. Scotty Scheffler is doing a great job of that, sliding that right foot in there. I don't suggest that for you. That's something he does naturally, that he's done his whole life. So we don't want to change that as tour players and golf instructors. We want to let them do what they do well and work on what they don't do well in their golf lessons. And that's pivotal as you learn this great game of golf. So I've actually got the camera right where my ball landed. And if you can see back here, I hit it literally in the middle of the fairway, and it kicked off some aerification spot or something all the way over to that spot right there. And that's just what we call rub of the green. And that's going to happen from time to time. But we set it up so that we're not all the way in that mess. You'll see me hit this shot in just a second. All right, so in Florida, you're going to get some bad breaks. You got hit the middle of the fairway there, or maybe middle left of the fairway, and it came scooting down here. The ground is hard. We haven't had rain in a while. And so it's not a surprise that we're out here, but we were smart enough to aim ourselves so that if we did get an unlucky break, we're not all the way to the hazard. So we didn't want to aim here to cut it. We wanted to aim at a positive spot and try to cut it back in. So now I've got about 126, 127. I'm not in jail, but it's not optimal, but I didn't do anything to create an extra stroke. So I'm here with my golf ball. I'm just going to make my practice swings as a scratch player. The pin's right directly in the middle of the green on a top tier. So as a scratch player, I kind of want to be a little bit aggressive. I'm into the wind, so I know the ball's going to stop fairly quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and be aggressive and try to get all the way up onto that back tier. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this full out and just see if I can create the soft bounce out of this rough that will roll up onto that top tier. Let's give it a shot here. Well, my new swing is very solid, but I'm not quite down with it. I think I'm going to be just off the green, just left of the flag. Hey, just want to remind you to not forget on getting your free gift below on how to never miss a 5-foot putt. All right, gang, so I'm out here. I've got my high handicap player, and we've gotten up here to sort of the frontish side of the green in 2 shots. So we're pretty excited. We got a real chance to make a par or a bogey. And we just want to don't bring that double into play. But here's the negative, okay? And I've always talked about trying to putt whenever possible, chip whenever you can't putt, and then pitch Pitch meaning you're gonna have that high lofted club whenever at the last possible scenario. Well, we're at the last possible scenario. So you've got wet conditions. You can tell by the cart path lines that we are in a wet area. And so it's gonna be difficult to chip it or putt it here. And we've got to get over a pretty substantial ridge. So for you high handicap players, you've got to work on this shot to be able to play this ball to get it up in the air. There's just nothing we can do here other than get it up, because if we chip it, we're going to land into that real wet spot and it's going to plug immediately. So I want you to think about it from a stance of, you're probably going to be pretty steep, so I want you to play it a little bit back in your stance. You're probably going to swing across it, so just swing a little bit more aggressive than you think you need to. And the one thing I want you to do is just commit to finishing the shot. Even if it's thinned, we can get into that back bunker and we can putt it out. But that's if we do thin the shot. So the idea of not thinning the shot is play it a little bit back in your stance, give you a little bit more face to hit. We're going to be a little steep, so I want you to cut across it. So because you're going to cut across it, I want you to be just a little bit more aggressive and hold your finish. So I've opened the club face a little bit up. I'm going to play a little bit back in my stance. I know your swing's going to be a little this way. And let's just see if we can incorporate this shot and get it up onto the green. So steep, up, pull across. Not the prettiest, but we got it on the green, so that's not bad. That back in the stance helped a little bit, adding that loft. Now we got really lucky there because it's right on the edge of that area of the green that could roll all the way down. So let's run up there real quick and mark it so that we don't have to putt from twice as far as we do right now. All right, so we got a really bad break here. We were up on the fringe here and it spun off here and it came all the way down and rolled into a really tight lie. And so we got a pretty tricky shot, you scratch players. We're gonna wanna make sure that we're getting the right feel and utilizing the bounce on these areas. So just a little bit up in your stance, open the club face just a tick, and it's gonna be a pretty aggressive stroke to get the ball up and over that hump that you can see. You can't maybe see it from the camera, but it really kicks right and rolls out. So we wanna try to carry that. And in order to do that, you've gotta practice this shot a little bit to get a feel for how far your lob wedge, your highest lofted club, goes on a pitch shot with a lot of bounce. So I'm gonna try to throw it just past the fringe. Even if it hits the fringe, it should roll down towards the flag and create that sort of a feel where the club just slides with the ball and my momentum will carry the ball onto the green. That was really well done. It kicked more forward than I wanted instead of right, but I'm gonna have about 5 or 6 feet. And the Scotty Schefflers of the world, the guys that make that putt when they miss hit a green, they're gonna win the tournament or be in that top 10 zone making plenty of money. All right, so we got two different possibilities here. The high handicapper is just trying to get this 25-footer into a 2-foot circle. So apologize for that quick interruption last night filming. We had some technical difficulties, but what I want to make sure you know is that the high handicap player did 2-putt just by not being concerned too much about how far the ball was going to go, but to try to focus on getting in that 2 to 3 foot circle. And the ball just slightly was short. We tapped that ball in. We made our bogey for the high handicap player. And then the scratch player had about a 6-footer. And we went through our routine. We lined up the ball. We made sure that our stroke was on line. So we took the 2 practice strokes to really feel the distance and the pace. And then we went and gently just hit it right in the hole. Beautiful roll, went directly in the center. And for you to learn, for you high handicappers and you scratch players, the process of putting will take off a lot of strokes. So if you're a high handicapper, I want you to track how many putts you make in a round of golf. And for you scratch players, make sure that you're putting that line on the ball and really focusing on being very consistent with your technique. Gang, I hope this was helpful. If it was, like. If you like it, subscribe, and we'll see you next Thursday at 6 o'clock.